Great company and a good afternoon. The Natasha Hall Show on CJAD 800.
All right, welcome back to the program. 321, Joanne Breck is filling in for the lovely Natasha Hall this afternoon. And this next story, you got to hear to believe. You've all seen it. It's all around town. Trash. Now, particularly, I'm speaking about the PPE trash, right? People are wearing these disposable masks, and for whatever reason, when they're done with them, they throw them on the ground. I, at the beginning of noticing this, was hoping that somehow the wind was blowing the masks off of people's faces, because I chose to hold out hope that people were not just throwing their possibly contaminated masks onto the ground, but it turns out that they are. And one man is doing something about it and is being very brave about it, because I would not do this myself. I don't have the guts to do this. I'm speaking with Jody Evelyn, who's a Verdun resident, who's decided to pick up the PPE off the ground around the city. Jody, thank you so much for taking the time today.
Hey, Joanne, thank you ever so much for having me.
Jody, no, thank you, first of all. And oh my goodness, when I was reading about you, right? So you have... you're president of something called Cans for Cash, right? You're like involved. You're an environmentally wise guy. You care about what's happening in the environment. You don't like to see things being wasted. You don't like to see things being discarded. But take me through the process of seeing this on the ground, and it's potentially dangerous, right? And you decide, no, I'm doing something about this.
That's exactly right. You know, in the beginning, we all were in that kind of like hermit state of lockdown. And we started to open up, and then people started going to the grocery store and be like, really protective and whatnot. And that's when I started noticing them, And I thought to myself at first, that's really, self-centered and, egotistical of people to unthoughtfully, recklessly, throw their masks and gloves on the ground. And then I decided that, something had to be done about it, because, first of all, it's pollution,
It is pollution, but Jody, it's also super dangerous. I'm looking at a picture of you here that's in the Gazette of your instrument that you used to pick this. Describe to people how you're doing this, right? Because I'm going to use a very, not so pretty term, but it's gross. When people do that, they throw that on the floor. It's gross. And you're saying, I'm going to go ahead and pick it up. How do you pick it up?
Well, it's simple. You see the stick that's in my hand in that picture, probably?
Yeah.
All right. So it's just a gardening stick, right, to keep tomatoes straight and whatnot. Uh-huh. And then what I did is I put a nail on the end because, I didn't do that all in one shot. It was kind of evolutionary process of creating.
Learn as you go. Learn as you go.
Learn and learn. Fail and learn. So I created that stick, and then I had put a small bottle at the end, and I cut it so I could put my hand inside. And then I replaced that with a large bottle because it protects my hand better.
That's what that is. It looks like, what it looks like when I'm looking at this photo, just so I describe it to our listeners. When people are doing fencing, yes, it looks like you're fencing. You're fighting COVID in your own way. I love it.
That's right, like Zorro.
You're the Zorro of COVID masks. Wait, so okay. So I have concerns for you just because, you don't know if there is a risk of contamination in these masks. So I presume that you're taking the proper precautions for yourself, right, Jody?
100%, absolutely. I mean, from day one, I was very, very, religiously careful. Mm-hmm. I got into a point where, I conditioned myself, first of all, never to touch my face.
Yes, important.
That was number one. Even when I'm in my house, I still don't touch my face.
Just in general, yeah.
Yeah. So, I took all the precautions like that, wash my hands, everything that was going around, on the campaigns that the government had set out, I was following, religiously, washing my hands, and not, obviously grabbing masks off the ground. I used my stick.
Jody, I have to ask you something because you've been at this for quite some time now, like 7 months, right? If I'm getting this right. A
little bit longer than 7 months, but 7 months is when guess you could say
when you figured out the stick, right?
Yeah.
How can you ballpark how many masks you've picked up? Because you go out, you have your little, I guess, what is it? Because you put them in a bag once you get home, right? Like, how do you carry them around with you? I see a bicycle here, kind of.
Yeah, that's my bicycle, and on the back of the bicycle, I have a trailer.
Yeah.
And so I've attached with a zip tie or a cord, whatnot, just a normal shopping bag, and I'm able to literally sit on my bike and pick up the mask, with my stick and just turn around and put it in the bag.
So
And
how
then,
many can you ballpark? Are we talking in the hundreds or in the thousands?
each day or in
Just
total?
in total.
Right now, yesterday I was at 11,776 masks
Ugh.
and 1,167 gloves.
Jody, do you have something to say? By the way, I have to remind people at home, we're speaking to Jody Evelyn, who's decided on his own to pick up the mess that Montrealers are leaving behind. And by mess, I mean your gloves and your masks. When you're done wearing them, try to find the proper place to get rid of them. It's a potential. You can spread the disease this way. And then you have a man like Jody who goes around and picks up after you. And he shouldn't have to because we're all adults. But what is your message to Montrealers who are deciding that, hey, I'm done with it. I'm going to chuck it on the ground?
Well, at first, like I was saying before, I think it's a bit of, ignorance. I think people don't realize that, hey, these masks are made out of propylene, which is a plastic. I think a lot of people think that they're made out of, fabric or cotton or whatnot. So that's the first message, Stop putting them, on the street or on the sidewalk or throwing them in the natural environment. Stop, throwing them in recycling bins. They're not recyclable like, normal, plastics are or other plastics are. Don't flush them down the toilet.
Oh my goodness! Please don't flush them. What?
Well, a lot of
I'm
people
laughing
are,
because it sounds ridiculous. Okay, no, I feel like common sense. Jody, I have to say, again, yesterday on the show, we were talking about the unsung heroes of this pandemic, the people we tend to forget about. And you're the second guest I'm speaking to today, who is, I believe, one of these unsung heroes of the pandemic, because I don't know many people who would take the time to do this and help keep us safe and our city clean. So thank you so much. By the way, Cans for Cans is
Cans for Cash.
Cans for Cash, not Cans for
That's
Cash.
all right.
Right?
Service to collect Cans for Cash. What I would like to finish off, Joanne, if you would let me,
Of course,
is that I'm so happy because I created this Facebook group, called Mission PPE, educate, collect, cut, and discard. And since I did that, people started joining. A new group, a sister, group just opened up in Villeray that are going to start doing the same thing. And yesterday, I don't know if you ever heard of a gentleman by the name of Gary Stokes. He's the founder of oceanasia.org.
Mm-hmm.
He's the guy, if you go online, you see him holding up masks. Other people are doing this, Joanne. It's not just me.
I understand. I see it. I see it all around the world. People are getting together to clean up after everyone's mess. And I think, I applaud you.
Thank you.
Jody Evelyn, thank you so much. And Happy New Year.
Oh, my goodness. Happy New Year to everyone listening. And please, think prudently.
Think prudently, fingers and toes crossed that 2021 has better days to offer. All right. Thank you so much for taking the time.